All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rithmm Rundown, episode 3. Myself, Josh Applebaum, my partner in crime here, Cade Harper. Cade, great to be with you again, buddy. As always, the whole point of this stream is to help people use Rithmm to cash, make smart bets. And I think we did a pretty good job of that last couple podcasts or last couple streams here, Cade. So I'm going to let just people kind of file in right now and kind of just get ready to log into the stream. Reminder, we're doing this every Thursday, the Rithmm Rundown. You can count on it every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go for about 45 minutes to an hour, go through all the games that I'm looking at, Cade's looking at. If you have any questions, of course, you can throw those in the chat. And really, again, the goal is to help bettors use Rithmm to their advantage. So there's different ways to use Rithmm. You can just, again, I think Rithmm's done a great job of Cade just giving us these, recommended bets based on the green stars or some of these smart signals that they've come up with. You can play them all. You can pick and choose. You can use your style of betting and kind of combine it with what Rithmm is recommending. But I'm excited to do another show with you here, Cade. But before we let people file in and get ready, my man, the wait is over. NFL is here. Week 1, Thursday Night Football, Cowboys, Eagles. I think you and I might be leaning in the same direction with a very disgusting play. You're going to puke in your mouth,
so.
But the data says it's pretty good. So how you feeling today, buddy? How are you?
I'm feeling great. We're definitely, the vibes are high. It's football season. It's officially, once NFL kicks in, it's like that's when everybody kind of sets in. It's football season. So we're here. We made it.
I'm with you, man. And let me ask you real quick before we kind of get into all this stuff. Are you a big futures guy? Do you bet a lot of futures bets, like just speaking NFL in general or college? Have you bet some win totals, divisions? You don't have to give me your plays, but what's your take on just futures versus, hey, give me a play here for tonight? How do you kind of balance that with your bankroll?
So with futures, I love a good future, especially the ones with the props, whether they're like a season-long player prop, whether it's a win total, whether that's to win a division. I do have a few. Majority, I'm usually 9 times out of 10, I'm a win total guy. But there's a lot of value, it seems to be this season specifically, in a lot of these division winners. So that's where I kind of tend to most of my attention toward this year specifically. But yeah, very excited to see how that plays out for sure.
Nice. And what's your process, Cade, just for picking a division winner or a futures bet? Are you going off of, projected data that you've had? Is it more of a bit of a feel? Are you comparing last year to this year? If you want to give me one example or just kind of in general how you look at betting futures, what's your process there?
A lot of them are pretty similar, and I like to kind of, it sounds weird, but it's very eerily similar to college, the way I do my futures there as well. I like to compare previous data with the current year, I should say, whether that's returning production, whether that's key additions, whether that's other divisional opponents maybe that might be lacking compared to their last season or something like that. There you can find a little value in certain stuff like that. So a key example was the Niners. Obviously, Niners have a little bit of a more down year. I have a pick ticket in to win the Super Bowl this year. They have one of the easier schedules across the league, in my opinion, I think, on paper. But that was one of my favorite ones. But yeah, the key into that one, obviously, they weren't too hot last year. So naturally, this year, value might be up a little bit more. Obviously, losing Debo is another key addition as well. So stuff like that, kind of falls into it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I lean a lot on, bet splits and kind of what I'm seeing from the sports book. So I'm lucky enough to get a lot of these key pieces of info from my buddy John Ewing. Used to work with him at Bet Labs, and really what he does with BetMGM is he'll give you, and he's a great follow on Twitter at John Ewing, but the actual bets and dollars for futures bets at BetMGM. So when I'm looking at a win total, like one that I jumped on earlier this year was Patriots over 7.5 wins. I noticed that it opened 7.5. It's been juiced up. A lot of books are at 8.5. I still think you can get over 7.5. I think you got it like minus 150. It's a little pricey here, but I noticed the bets and dollars at BetMGM were like 60% bets, 80% dollars, juiced up. The line's moving up. You're going into year 2 with Drake May. You got a better coaching staff, and you really hit on something important too: the schedule. Patriots have, I believe, the third easiest schedule in the NFL. So that's one that I played. Pats over 7.5. I also, Cade, I don't know your thoughts on the Saints. I'm hoping they're going to be very, very bad because I took under 5.5 win total there with the Saints. That actually, I think might even be at 4.5 at some shops, but I noticed a ton of steam on that under. And obviously, rookie coach, Spencer Rattler is probably going to be the starter. I think that's confirmed, but he's not a rookie, but a second-year guy in a tough division. So that's another one I played. And then I did play the Eagles to win the NFC East. I got them at minus 145. I thought that was kind of a cheap price there. A lot of continuity, obviously. Super Bowl hangover usually is for the losing team, but I don't think you got to worry too much about the Cowboys winning that division or the Giants. Commanders are kind of right there at plus 220, but I am playing the Philly future there. So, again, whether it's futures, whether it's playing the games here tonight, I just think it's important for a lot of viewers and listeners to know, don't just get so hung up on instant gratification. I'm betting tonight. I got to win tonight. No, if you can make a smart bet, it gives you a rooting interest throughout the year. And even though you might have to wait 6 months, there'll be a nice little surprise for you 6 months from now if you're able to cash some of these bets. So with that being said, Cade, I don't want to waste too much more time because we got to get to obviously the topic of conversation, the Eagles and the Cowboys here tonight. But I just want to mention to everyone, we do have a promo code. So if you're new to Rithmm and you want to give it a shot, use the promo code START25. That's 25% off. It gives you a nice little break there to get interested and acclimated to Rithmm. And also, Cade, I'm going to make our guy proud here. I'm going to do a little screen share because I got to pop open Rithmm here. And I'm a pro now at this one here, Cade. But we do have something awesome with Rithmm. So shout out to Megan and Brian and the whole crew. We have this new Rithmm leaderboard contest. So if you have an opportunity here to make some money, to use your Rithmm edges to your advantage, you can win up to $1,000. So definitely want to tell everyone to check it out and see if they can throw their hat in the ring for that contest. Also want to mention the Smart Signals, another awesome feature that Rithmm has unveiled. Basically, it's going to give you a lot of these plays that have kind of fit all the different models and the criteria and have kind of come out of that from with a really, really high rating. So you can look at them for props. You can look at them for games. Doesn't really matter, but that'll just kind of direct you to the best ones. And then real quick, Cade, I want to give a little shout out because you and I on the last stream hit on some winners. So we did hand out Cincinnati +7. Remember, they played at Arrowhead against Nebraska. There was like 80% of bets, everyone and their mother on Nebraska, but that line freeze stayed right at 7. Wouldn't you know it, Nebraska wins, but Cincy covers, and Rithmm recommended that play. I think their recommendation was like around 6.2 or something.
Yeah.
Ohio State, remember, saw that line really fall toward Texas, but it was kind of a buy low spot and fishy. Why was the 3 favored over the 1? Well, Ohio State came through, and remember, Rithmm had a minus 1.7 when that was around a pick'em game. And the one that I really liked, Cade, was Miami. You and I were talking the Catholics versus the convicts there. Well, the convicts came through because that was a really sharp line freeze +3. You could have gotten 3 or 2.5. They win the game outright. They did their best to blow it, Cade, in the fourth quarter, but
they really did.
Yeah, was able to get that win. And shout out to Rithmm because Rithmm at the time actually had Miami favored to win that game. That was a really sharp Rithmm prediction. Rithmm had a minus 0.6, so basically winning by a half point. If you're giving me a dog contrarian heavily bet game, everyone on the Irish line freeze where basically heavy betting one side, but the line won't move. Even some RLM, the line fell to 2.5, and Rithmm is telling you this dog could win the game outright. That was a great hit there with Miami. So, Kate, I don't know if you have any other thoughts. I know you hit a bunch of bets in week 1, but Cincy, Ohio State, and Miami, those are really 3 big plays that we handed out in the last pod.
For sure. I think I overbet week 1, but in terms of a volume standpoint, it's probably the excitement. Thankfully, it ended in our favor. It came out on an extremely profitable win rate. Thankfully, profitable a little bit over 7.5 units this weekend. So it was very, very great opening weekend all around.
Yeah, that was awesome. So let's see if we can keep it going here. That's the challenge, man. When you're struggling, it's a challenge to win. When you're hot and things are going good, it's a challenge to continue to post some winners, hopefully. So I want to give everyone a quick rundown, and then we're going to get to obviously Cowboys and Eagles. We're going to talk some Thursday Night Football. We have some plays, I think, on this game. I know I do. There's a couple prop bets that caught my eye with using Rithmm's advantages. I also want to talk some week 1 Steelers, Jets, Bengals, Browns, Giants, Commanders. We also got to talk some college football here, Cade. So we'll finish up with a game tomorrow. I'm looking at James Madison and Louisville, Baylor, SMU, Michigan, Oklahoma, and UVA and NC State. So with that being said, let's get right to it here. We got a huge game here tonight. Everyone's, the wait's finally over. NFL is back, and we have a very big number here. So I'll kind of walk through, Cade, what I'm looking at here, setting the stage, and then I want to get your take on this one. But this one's really notable to me for a couple different reasons. Like, one, the line movement here. The line has gone pretty big here toward Philly. Philly opened around a 7-point favorite. Philly's now up to 8.5. You're getting around 2/3 of bets. So the public play here is Philly laying the points, defending champs. Dallas traded obviously Micah Parsons, kind of down on the Cowboys. But one thing that I noticed, Cade, is some sneaky sharp buyback on the boys tonight, because this line got up to 8.5 and it didn't blow through the 8.5 and get up to 9.5. No, it stayed at 8.5. And if you're looking at a lot of these current numbers, and we're only a couple hours from kickoff, a lot of these 8.5s are juiced up not toward the Eagles side, but toward the Dallas side, plus 8.5, minus 115. And you're getting some shops even getting down to 8. So that's really important to me. The fact that, yes, we got to admit, maybe some sharps hit this minus 7, 7.5 early, but now that it's all the way to 8.5, what's one thing we always talk about, Cade? Trying to get the best of the number. So if you're laying the 8.5 with Philly, they might roll here, win by 14, but you're getting the worst of it, which typically is going to kind of be a negative long term. I'm going to take the points with Dallas. Dallas plus 8.5. A couple things that I like about this one. They're contrarian in a really, really heavily bet game. I like to bet against the public in prime time. And then there's all these system matches that were lighting up for me, Cade. If you look at in this spot, week 1 dogs, they're 56% against the spread since 2016 in week 1. Road dogs are 59% ATS. Divisional dogs, that's a big one for me. 2 teams, same division. That's, 66% against the spread since 2016. Big dogs getting 6.5 or more are 68% ATS. And also inflated dogs. Like, I'm not going to call the Cowboys a sharp bet per se, because the line has moved toward the Eagles. But to me, it's a value play. It's a spot play. It's a system play. Dogs getting at least a point off the opener. Inflated line dogs, they're 63% ATS since 2016. So I have all these angles lit up on the Cowboys. And then if we go to Rithmm and we can kind of check out some of these opportunities here. Here, let me go. As I find this, Cade, are you with me or not here with the Cowboys?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think?
It's not a question. Yeah. Every system that's in the betting world on primetime games is got to be trending towards Cowboys. I haven't seen a ton of people other than Eagles fans on the Eagles, honestly. But outside of that, yeah, I've got nothing else to add. It's basically just a system play. There's nothing much else to it, really.
Yeah, and if we can back it up again, because anytime we're going to talk about a bet, we want to back it up not with emotion bias. That's really a very easy way to start losing when you're sports betting, because you start, Cade. And I remember, I was, back in college, back in the day, I'm like, I'm a Red Sox fan. Let me bet the Red Sox. Patriots, that's a bad example because Brady and Belichick did cover no matter the number or anything. But you kind of learn real quick, betting based on gut instinct, bias, emotion. That's a big, big loser long term. So we want to back everything up with data, which is what Rithmm does a great job for us. So we got the line steaming pretty big toward the Eagles. It hit 8.5 and it's coming back down. That tells me sharp buyback is on the Cowboys here. They're contrarian in a heavily bet game. You can bet against the drunk guys at the bar who are saying, Cade, hammer the Eagles tonight. They're going to roll because they're so good and the Cowboys stink. Okay, that's fine. A lot of system matches, but here is the coup de grace for me. I got 2 system matches, both on the Cowboys. Of course, we got 1 recommended play, so a green star recommendation. Again, Rithmm does a great job of telling us, hey, this is a lean. Maybe it's checking off a couple boxes, but not all of them. The green ones get me excited because those are the recommended plays that have kind of gone through all the checks and balances that Rithmm puts out there. And if we can click on this prediction here, this is notable to me. Rithmm is basically saying, if we look here, Cowboys plus 7.7. So Rithmm is predicting Eagles to win this game. I know a lot of people probably are playing Eagles in their Survivor. I don't know, Cade, maybe play Denver in Survivor. I know it's a popular one too, with Cam Ward first road game, and rookie quarterback or number 1 quarterback picks are like terrible straight up week 1. I also think that if you're playing the Eagles though, I would only tease them down. Like my only path would be taking them 8.5, 8 down to 2.5 or 2. You go through some key numbers, but this is critical to me. We built a case on the Cowboys, contrarian, sharp buyback system matches, and Rithmm is saying you should fire on this pick. It's a green recommended play, basically Cowboys plus 7.7. You could round that up to 8. You're getting the hook on the 8.5. You cover that number. So I really like seeing the fact that the Cowboys are a recommended play inside that number. So that's important to me. Before we get to some props on this game, Cade, any thoughts on the total here? Because we've definitely seen it tick up. Last I looked, it was, I think, 46.5 up to like 48.5. And it was sitting 47.5 all day. Got steamed like early afternoon. Do you agree this is going to be a higher scoring game? What do your numbers say? Do you have any rhythm models? Do we buy low and take the under in prime time? What are your thoughts on the total?
Immediately, this is what I go to because this is what I was waiting for, really, because I don't have a play in this and I've ping ponged back on it. And I think I'm going to by kickoff, honestly. I've leaned over ever since this line opened. I know primetime unders are a thing here, but Eagles, obviously, they have an edge in the trenches. That extends to both sides of the ball, though, which is effectively a wash in terms of points to be produced. But one of the most important things that I have learned in my time of like playing DFS is that it's not so much about how an offense matches up with an opposing defense. It's pretty much like the contrary to that, but how the offenses in a game compare with each other. So we know the power that the Eagles offense possesses. We know how good this Cowboys offense could be with the addition of George Pickens. With Dak coming back, he's healthy. It's exciting. It's a rivalry. I like the idea of points being scored in this. And I think with a total sitting at 47.5, it's going to sneak across if the Cowboys can hang in there. So with the addition of rooting for points, I like the over.
Yeah, I think you make a good case. I mean, the market's definitely with you, Cade. The fact that this was 46.5 open and immediately got up to 47.5. And then I got to respect game day movement. Anytime you see a line move on game day, that's important to me because limits are raised, bigger bets come in. I will say I'm not playing this total. You know, every part of me as a contrarian, Cade, wants to buy low and go under 48.5. I do have some matches here basically telling me to go under 48.5. They're both under. One's a recommended play. But look at what the total, combined points are, like 48.1. I mean, if this told me it was like 46 or a bigger discrepancy, I'd get a little more excited about that. Right. And also, I feel like I have more success just anecdotally, like primetime totals that fall. Like, let's say that it opens at 49, 48.5. It's down to 47.5. That would get me excited because it tells me that all movement liability has been toward the under. The fact that this went up, it tells me that there are a lot of respected people who played this over. So yes, if I'm going under 48.5, I am getting the best of it, which is important, and I am against the public. Last I looked at DraftKings, about almost 70% of bets are going over tonight, but the line did rise. So to me, especially when we're trying to limit our plays and not have too many, because you'd hate to nail this side and let's say Cowboys cover the number and we're ecstatic, but we played the over, we played the under, or, vice versa, and we lose that, or we did a first half, yada, yada, yada. I think you want to really kind of just isolate and limit your plays to what you feel, not based on emotion, but based on the data is telling you is the sharpest play. So right. That's notable to me. I want to move over to some props here, Cade. Let me just ask you, we haven't really touched on a lot of props. Are you a big prop guy? Do you target certain props over others? What's your kind of style when approaching player props?
So this is funny. I was actually just talking about this with a couple of guys on our Discord server there. Normally I'm not. I'm mainly just a team total guy. That's like the only prop that I'll really touch a lot of the times in these NFL seasons. However, after looking at Rithmm, they updated their software last year. Their props were very profitable last year. They were really good. And that bringing up, I did find a couple for tonight specifically that we'll kind of hit on, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, I normally know I'm looking to get into it more because obviously, like I said in the past episodes, I'm more of a sides guy. But yeah, definitely expanding to be a props guy.
I'm kind of with you. Yeah, I mean, I must admit I was not a big player prop person, and really Rithmm, since teaming up with Rithmm a couple of years ago, that really opened my eyes to a lot of prop bets. So I like to target a lot of pass catchers, Cade. It's a passing type league, especially if you're a dog and you need to throw the ball. If there's a wide receiver, a tight end where their player prop is, 24.5 receiving yards, it gets bet up to 26.5. Rithmm says they'll get 30. That's kind of my wheelhouse in terms of those plays. So let me just ask you, any props you like tonight? Because I got two of them that are lighting up for this game.
I believe I'm tracking 2, but I did play 4 because of the boosts and the promos that were out on multiple books tonight. So I took a couple of profit boosts towards both tight ends. I think Goddard and Ferguson find an end zone for good value there. I think I got them both around 300 range, as well as George Pickens for 325. But in terms of props that I'm tracking for tonight, I have CD's longest reception over 22.5. and Saquon over 18.5 rushing attempts.
I'm so glad you hit on that, man. If you look at my cheat sheet over here, I got one of them here, Saquon. So let's let's back this up with some Rithmm data. One thing I like is just go to the recommended plays. So obviously we're not just talking tonight, but if you want to look at some plays for this weekend, like Justin Fields over passing yards, like that's a huge discrepancy. Cade over 173.5. Rhythm's predicting 226.2. So I mean that. How do you argue with that? But in terms of just this play here for tonight, sometimes what I like to do is just like isolate the game itself. Obviously it's a one-off, it's a primetime game. But you mentioned Saquon. So let's go to rush attempts and boom, right here. You can kind of cut through the noise, get to the signal. These are all, not recommended plays. Maybe they're a little bit of, checking off some boxes, but not quite what Rithmm is comfortable officially recommending. Well, let's look at this guy. I had an absolutely incredible year. Idiot Giants let him go. Even said on the Hard Knocks that, oh, what's he going to do? Go to the Eagles and win the Super Bowl? Well, he rushed for 2,000 yards, won the Super Bowl. Couldn't have been a better year for Saquon. So he's healthy. He's going into year 2. And you hit on really the prop that I was looking at as well. So if you look at Saquon, we're not talking rushing yards. We're not talking anytime TD. You have those options as well. But Rithmm is really focusing on his rush attempts. So how many, carries will he get in this game? Over 18.5 is your market number. So to go over, you would need 19 or more. But this is a recommended play that's checking off all the boxes. And Rithmm is predicting right here, 24.4. So when you're looking at a discrepancy play, like let's say Rithmm predicted, 19.1 and it's over 18.5. Hey, that might be a layoff for me because I don't feel like that's as big of an edge that I need, an advantage over the book. But 24.4, I mean, that's a pretty big edge. You're looking at, upwards of 4 or 5, 6, almost 6 yard or 6 carry advantage over what the market is telling you. You can also kind of scroll down, look at some of these box scores. You can also look at some head-to-head, home road. But basically, down the stretch, they really leaned on Saquon. He had 25 carries in the Super Bowl. You could even go, last 10, look at, some of these games specifically against Dallas, a divisional opponent. Yeah. But the fact that they're recommending almost 25, you only need 19 to cash this bet. Also, people get scared, Cade. I wonder your take on just like juice on props.
Yeah.
A lot of people really want plus money, which I get, but don't be afraid to go a minus number on a prop bet. Like sometimes to me, I like laying a minus number on a prop. Not that I have to pay more juice, but it's telling me the odds makers are expecting this thing. You're paying, a higher price because it's likely to cash. So great point by you, Saquon. And I don't know if you had another one here. I got one more, but I'll flip it over to you. Thoughts on Saquon in this over prop or another one you got here loaded for us?
Yeah, this was the first one that definitely caught my attention. So I do love this one. I put it at a full unit compared to my others that I only stuck with a half. But I did have Javonte Williams under rushing yards, and I think Jalen Hurts under rushing yards as well. I think it's at 44.5. I think that's dropped a lot, though. I think that was up a little bit, but I don't know. I might be wrong. I forget what that was at, what number that was. I don't have my
hard to keep track of all of them, man.
I don't know. That's what I said. Those are the ones that I'm not tracking, so I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, but I can find it, but whatever.
No worries. Well, let me throw this one at you. Jalen Tolbert. I kind of, just stumbled on this one because, again, you isolate the game. I hope you're on this one with me here, Cade, but I kind of go through each one, and it takes me 2 seconds. Like, nothing green, move on. Nothing green, move on. But when you get down to, receiving yards, this is the one that jumped out to me. Where's Tolbert here? This one. So it's a caution flag. You got to go over 15.5. That must have moved because I think it was 9.5 earlier. But he's still predicted for 21.9. So what I like about this one is it's juiced to the over a little bit. It has moved quite a bit in the market, which you're like annoyed by that because you're getting the worst of it. But also you kind of take some solace in that because it tells you that wise guys have hit that over and caused it to go up. But the thought process here is, this guy can get you, 16-yard catch. You might, catch this one in just one catch. But I kind of like the theory of Pickens is new to the team. He's a deep threat. You're going to have to obviously, kind of pay attention to him. CeeDee Lamb is one of the best wide receivers in football. You got to pay attention to him. what's the matchup with Jalen Tolbert? I mean, you're going up against their third corner. There's a lot's been made about Philly and their secondary. Cooper DeJean is awesome, but they lose Darius Slay. Gardner Johnson's gone. I think they're kind of down a bunch of corners at this point. And lastly, you are a dog with the Cowboys. Are you going to be down 10, 14 points? Is it garbage time in the fourth quarter? You're going to probably have to throw the ball to keep pace. This is a guy that isn't, a household name, but a lot of movement to the over. I know it's not in the sweet spot, but over 15.5, and Rhythm's predicting basically 22. I could make a case for Jalen Tolbert here over receiving yards. What do you think about this one, Cade?
This one I do like, excuse me, but I like the way last year when Dak was hurt, and then when CD has historically been unhealthy, that Tolbert's kind of slowly developed into the guy, obviously before Pickens was there. But I do like the way that they utilize him in this playbook and his route, because he's going on a lot of these slot, quick slant, quick ins and outs and whatnot. Sometimes these like short go routes that they just kind of throw it out there and they're like, hey, go make something happen. These 20-yard gains, I feel like it's definitely possible. 15 to me seems a little bit short considering how pass heavy I expect tonight to be. So yeah, I definitely do like this one. Nice.
So yeah, let's see if we can cash a prop bet there. I'm looking here, Cade. Nothing really else jumped out to me. Anything else for tonight's game you want to hit on, or should we move on to some more week 1 games in the NFL?
Those were all the props that I had, but yeah, just the 8.5 and then those props.
Perfect. So I'm going to go to some games, and let me just tell you, I like the gross ones. There's a lot of data. Obviously, the Cowboys are a disgusting one, but a lot of data backs up the fact that week 1 of the NFL in general, I'm a dogs and unders guy most of the time, Cade, because most heavily bet sport, most public action. Where does public want to go? Favorites and overs. So therefore, just going dogs and unders is typically a smart move long term. Now, I preface that by saying last year was not a good year for dogs.
Chalk,
favorites was just chalk city, and a lot of people in my DMs are like, "Can we get a back to normal dogs and unders here?" Obviously, fingers crossed with that. But week 1 especially, you see the public load up on certain teams and just see these obvious easy plays, and that's an opportunity to take advantage and bet against the public and go the other way and not feel scared to fire on some of these disgusting plays. So the first one that I wanted to kind of look at with you, Cade, was the New York Jets. Now, really, really gross one here, but here's what I'm looking at with the Jets game. You basically opened with the Steelers, and you can call it a revenge game for Aaron Rodgers. You can call it revenge for Justin Fields, whatever. But the betting market was interesting to me with this one, Cade, because we opened basically Steelers -2.5, -3. It's one of the most lopsided games of the week. The public is all over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is getting upwards of 70% of spread bets at DraftKings. But kind of like that Cincinnati-Nebraska game that we hit on last week, it really hasn't moved at all. Reminds me even a little bit of that Miami-Notre Dame game where the home dog is a very short dog. Everyone thinks it's way too short. They're taking the favorite, but the line stays right where it's at. So if you can get a +3, I'm going Jets here. They match a bunch of systems for me. You look at those week 1 dogs. You also look at, in this spot, a week 1 dog in which they missed the playoffs the previous year because the public's going to say, you didn't make the postseason. You stink. I don't want to play you. Obviously, Tomlin, every year he's a winning coach, Aaron Rodgers, yada, yada. Those dogs you kind of want to buy low on. Since 2016, they're 57 against the spread in week 1 if you miss the postseason. And then lastly, I have a Rhythm. It is a caution model, but take a look here, Cade. Jets +1.5. So if I can get a key number of 3, Rhythm's telling me it should be basically a 1 or 2 point game. I can go against the public who loves Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin, and I can buy low on the Jets. I already put in the +3 here with the Jets, and of course, shop around, you got to get the key number. If you're at 2.5, I think it's a pretty good teaser play up to 8.5. You also look at this total; it's very low. It was, I think, 39.5 down to 38.5. Dog low totals are typically a good angle here. So, what do you think? Are you going to go Fireman Ed with me here, Cade, or am I crazy to like the Jets and the points?
As much as it pains me, my good buddy Caleb Johnson, who I went to high school with and grew up with, got drafted to the Steelers. So he's a good buddy of mine.
The running back, right?
Yeah. As much as I want to I decided not to take a side and not piss him off. That way he doesn't take over. So I found the under to kind of have some good value for me here.
Tell me more about it. Nice.
In my personal preference, I do trust Tomlin, who knows how to defend against Fields, obviously because he's a former Steeler. I usually will give him the nod in these types of situations. However, I'm optimistic about the team as a whole, just because of the amount of new faces that they have. Completely new offense, almost pretty much, with a new quarterback, a new wide receiver one, new system, maybe at running back even. Obviously, we've seen Jalen Warren, but we've never really seen him be the guy and actually take on the reins there. I also don't like the Jets passing game after Garrett Wilson and the Jets pretty much trying to run the ball and slow the game down. I think it kind of falls into Pittsburgh's defense's hands at that point. So it's a wild card game, especially with Aaron Rodgers in this kind of game, obviously. But I do trust both defenses. I think 38 is definitely one of the lower totals of the week, but I'll take my chance there, I think.
Yeah, and you mentioned Fields. We hit on this a little bit earlier, but man, it's very rare to see a rhythm recommendation with that big,
that high
of a discrepancy. And yeah, people are. I really like Fields coming out of Ohio State. Obviously, he kind of struggled there with the Bears. Really, a lot of potential. Hasn't really unlocked it. But remember, there was a time with the Bears where maybe it was second half of the year. I mean, he was like one of the biggest fantasy guys. He had a good run there a couple years ago. So new team, finally giving him a shot to be the starter. He's very buy low opportunity, over 173.5. And again, Rithmm is predicting 226.2. So that is a big discrepancy. I may have to take that one because Rhythm's like basically, if you don't play this, you're an idiot. I mean, that is a huge opportunity there.
Yeah.
So keep that one in mind. Keep on cruising. I got another disgusting one for you here, Cade. Bengals and the Browns. Let's go to this one here. Brownies plus the points. Who's with me with the Browns? This one, again, it looks terrible. But Bengals are a team the public is super high on. Joe Burrow, give them credit. They paid some of their guys to keep him around. T. Higgins, obviously Jamar Chase. They gave Hendrickson some money. Their defense isn't that great. I did notice this total, Kate. I don't know if you have a play on it. Maybe we get points here because I think it opened like 46. It's up to like 48.5 or 47.5. So, Bengals play a lot of those like 33 to 30 games. Who knows? But here's my case for the Browns. As gross as it seems, this is the most lopsided play of week one. And what I mean by that is nearly 80% of spread bets are laying it with the Bengals. They just see Joe Burrow. Remember, he went to the Super Bowl a few years ago. Everyone's locked and loaded. Browns stink. Joe Flacco stinks. Just lay it. Bengals are going to roll here. But the betting market has shown liability on the Browns. Basically, open this game. Browns minus 5.5, minus 6. A lot of those sixes are down to 5.5. So this looks like another line freeze play to me. I mean, look around the market, Cade. There's some fives out there. So that's kind of crazy. I mean, think from the perspective of the odds makers. They are just begging you to come take the Bengals at a very short number. Why are they exposing themselves in that regard? If the public's already loving Bengals minus 6, you love them minus 5.5, you love them minus 5. This kind of feels like a public trap game. And there's no such thing as trap. Like, it's just perception of what the public thinks. Right. Odds makers aren't putting out a number specifically to dupe you, but you kind of fall into this number's way too high, or this number's way too low. Now, it's not a huge Rhythm edge. Like, it's basically right on the number, 5.5. But I do have two plays on it, 5.3, 5.5. I mean, I played him at 5.5. I missed the 6. But that would be another divisional dog week one that's done very, very well. So I know you're a big Ohio guy here, Cade. What do you think? Bengals, Browns, any opportunity here to take the points, or again, is this an easy Bengals cover?
Cincinnati's been a team where you pretty much, it's like an auto fade. It feels like for the first like 4 to 5 weeks of the season for the last few years. They're known for getting off of these slow starts. And my only thing is that I'm scared that this is the year it kind of flips. They opted to play their starters in the preseason, which is something that have not done in a long time. But if my thing is that if they come into this game and they're firing on all cylinders that they usually do, that we know they do, it could get bad. I'm going to pass. I think the Browns have notoriously been known to pretty much I don't want to say own, but they've played really, really well against Cincinnati these last couple of seasons. It's a team that Joe hasn't been able to beat at a lot of times. Joe Flacco at quarterback, I think is what is it? Is that who it is? Correct.
Flacco, he's still elite. He's like 50 years old, but he's still doing it.
Yeah, that already scares me enough there. So I'm going to pass, but yeah, I wish I had a play in it, but
I mean, I don't blame you, man. This is one of those plays where like you will come out of this game feeling like if Browns cover, like let's say they lose by 3, I am a genius. I'm the smartest guy in the world. Or Cincinnati wins like 34-10, and you're like, wow, how did I possibly think that they were going to cover that number? So I made a deal with the devil a long time ago, Cade. I'm just like, I'm playing it, and we'll see what happens because the data backs it up. But yeah, that's a gross one here. So I'm not going to force anyone to ride that one with me. Let's talk about another one here. Giants and Commanders.
Yeah.
This is another one that's gotten a really big sharp line move because public's all over the Commanders. Commanders open this game at around -7. Nearly, I think, like 76% of bets, something like that. Big public majority are laying with the Commanders. Obviously, Jaden Daniels, you make it all the way to the NFC title game. They're at home. Giants stink. All that kind of stuff. However, staying true to the market and what it's telling us, the line's moved toward the Giants. Even though everyone's playing Commanders, line has fallen -7 down to -6. Now, I do think I jumped on the Giants in this spot +6.5, and I believe ESPN Bet is still +6.5, -125. So, you really got to look around, make sure you have multiple books, and usually Rithmm does a great job. You can kind of click this and scroll down, and it's going to give you all the books and their different numbers. So yeah, it looks like BetMGM is still 6. I don't know if they have ESPN Bet here, but I did get that with the hook. But anyway, divisional dog, Russell Wilson, believe it or not, really good as a dog. He's like 62% ATS in his career. Public's all over Commanders. Lines falling to Giants. Not a huge Rithmm edge. Giants are basically +6.1. The other one here is +6.2. But I guess this is one of those games where at least Rhythm's not telling me they should be like +8. So I feel a little bit better that it's kind of right on the number. But what do you think, man? Another just god awful. How are you going to play the Giants here? Can they cover this number? What are you thinking about this one?
These week 1 dogs are just so fun to bet, honestly. This one makes sense for me because I'm already low in the Commanders overall as a whole. I have their under win total at 9.5 this year, so I'm definitely banking on some regression for them. I think they still have one of the worst defenses in the league, and they did very little to fix that this offseason. So the level of success that they enjoyed I don't think it's repeatable by any means. 4th down conversion rate, which was nearly 80%, is going to be nuts if they can even come close to that again this year. Their schedule is not going to be easier. So I like the 6.5 with the Giants. I think the Commanders are being overvalued with all that hype from last year. They have a competent quarterback, like I said, and their pass rush is expected to be much, much improved. They're one of my most improved defenses by far this year. I think that should be enough to keep them within 6 here, personally.
Yeah, let's say a prayer, man. G-men. Don't get blown out. Backdoor cover, whatever it takes. Lose by 3, lose by, I guess the 6 wouldn't, covers for some people, but not everybody. But yeah, another disgusting one that I'll be playing. So let's move over to college here, Cade, because obviously Rithmm, great job with NFL, but also with college football. And we had a pretty good, opening week there. So a couple games I wanted to run by with you. Looking here, so I want to go to my homepage. I'll go to college football. Let's go to some games. The one that I'm excited about, really believe it or not, it's a game tomorrow, and it is James Madison on the road at Louisville. And this one is really interesting because the betting market and Rithmm are like right on the same page in terms of what I'm looking at here. So James Madison, remember the Dukes, what were they, D2? They would crush D2. They went to D1, and they've been really good. Like, they haven't really skipped a beat here. They got a really good program. Obviously, Louisville's a good team as well. You can tell by the points. It's like, big 14.5-point spread. But I'm taking the points with the Dukes here, Cade. Now, if you look at what the market has done, public is saying little James Madison, you don't have a shot. Louisville's better. They're going to roll. They're going to win by 17. They're going to win by 21. However, even though you're getting nearly 70% of spread bets at DraftKings on Louisville, I should say, the line's fallen toward James Madison. A lot of these books opened, I saw some Louisville minus 16.5, 16, 15. Even though they're getting a majority of tickets, they're not up to minus 17, minus 18. It's gone the other way. I believe this line even got down as low as I think minus 13 yesterday. And I was like, damn it, I missed the 14 in a hook. So I think it's situations like that. Have a number in your head and just say, I missed it, but if it comes back, I'm going to pounce. So that's what I did today. It came back to James Madison plus 14.5. And that's a play for me because it's a primetime game. Majority of bets here are clearly on Louisville. But I can go contrarian with a sharp reverse line move. And I love this, Cade. 2 plays, both on James Madison, no conflict, both recommended Green Star plays. So if we pop open the first one, Rithmm is saying 13.7. We're getting 14.5. Second one here, I guess it's 13.7 as well. But either way, Rithmm is telling us if this is around a 13, 14-point game, that's a key number, obviously. The hook is so important to me. So I jumped on 14.5 with the Dukes, and Rithmm is kind of with me here. So what do you have a play on this one? Did this one jump out to you at all? Will you be pounding beers and chugging shots and playing James Madison with me tomorrow, hoping they lose by 14 or less?
I had a heavy lean in this game. And this is one that we looked at in our podcast that we do in our previews that we do at the beginning of the season. Because I projected at first, before the line opened, the computer generated line was in 20s. And I was like, oh dear God. Like it's got like, no, I know.
Now you're scaring
me. And now
me.
since it's like open and it came down, first, I don't know why, but the other software that I use, Rithmm has, I think I'm at like around like 12.8. Another one that I had them at like 14.2 or something like that. I'm going to pass overall, but I initially started with a lean towards James Madison, and I'm going to stay that way. If they can like limit the turnovers and they can run the ball as good as they did last week, I know it was Gardner-Webb. It's a nobody, but if they can continue to do that, I think they should keep this within 2 possessions. I would not be surprised if they honestly give them a scare here, because I do like James Madison a lot this year. They're one of my like group of 5 playoff teams that I had kind of sneaking in there. So definitely going to be rooting for the upset, or at least the scare of it here. So
excellent. All right, that's good. You scared the heck out of me when you said this should be in the 20s. So let's keep it a little bit closer than that. A couple other games I just want to hit on, Baylor and SMU. So one thing I like to do is just search the team. It's just easier for me to find it. There's so many games. So it's a lot easier to locate it there. But Baylor SMU is really interesting to me as well, because if you look across the market, this game has moved only in one direction, toward Baylor. You open this game, SMU, I think, was as high as like -4, -3.5, got down to 3. You're off the key number of 3. You're down to 2.5. If you look at the betting market right now, you still have a clear majority of tickets coming in on SMU. SMU, I believe, is ranked 17th. Baylor, they annoyed me. I took them in the points. I beat the closing line, Cade. 2.5 down to 1.5. They still were terrible. Anyway, but unranked versus ranked, lines going to Baylor. Right now, 78% of spread bets at DraftKings are on SMU, yet the line is falling to Baylor. So this is a gross one to me to take the points. Now, I did get a +3 earlier. I don't have 2 recommended plays here. They're both actually on SMU, but it's kind of right on the number, 2.5. Other one here is 2.6. I always, just for S's and G's, look at the money line. Again, it's a pretty close game either way. So even though Rithmm may not be totally with me with Baylor, this is a play +3 Baylor that I got to make. So any thoughts on this one, Baylor?
I'll toot my horn first and say that I had Auburn money line last week for for everybody that we went against.
Good. I should have listened to you, man. Toot away, brother.
No, this one's tricky. Because obviously the more that line goes up, I got to lean Baylor, but the more the line streaks down, I just don't even want to touch this at all. But I found a play and kind of towards the total, which was the opener of 60.5. I know this has kind of went up quite a bit. I think a touch 64, maybe some 65s in some spots, and I think it's kind of working its way back down now. But I did get the over 60.5. I love the way that these two offenses put up points. I mean, that's what they're known for. They have zero capability of defense. They have no idea what that is. But if it's the ball's in the air, I mean, they're making explosive plays left and right. Their quarterbacks are going to be throwing for 350 each on average, it seems like. I love these two offenses. Last week, Baylor missed a ton of tackles on the ground. Last week, SMU forced a lot of missed tackles on the ground. I like the way that these two kind of clash together. So I will take my chances at some points being scored in this game. I think it's very competitive. Baylor is going to be desperate, looking for a bounce back, and SMU's got a tough test at home. So
yeah, and you got a great number there. So either way, you're sitting pretty good there, Cade. Just two more games because I know obviously we're getting close here to kick off. Next one I want to hit on was a big one, Michigan and Oklahoma. So this is one of your most heavily bet games coming up here on Saturday night, 7:30, primetime game. And we've seen a ton of movement in this one, really kind of back and forth, because if you look at where this line opened, you were as low at some shops as Sooners minus 2.5, and it immediately shot up all the way to, I want to say Oklahoma like minus 5.5, even minus 6 at one point. So that was a really big adjustment in favor of Oklahoma. Now, since that time, it's come back down a little bit. Right now, I'm seeing a bunch of 5s out there. There's 5.5. There is a 4.5 though. DraftKings is minus 4.5 with Oklahoma. The big important thing to me though, Cade, is this is like right up my alley as a fade the trendy dog play, because the public is all over Michigan. Michigan, again, two good teams, powerhouse schools. You got to take the points with Michigan, right? They look good in the opener. Obviously, a big following that's going to lead a lot of average Joes, recreational bettors to want to sweat the Wolverines. But ever since the opener, it's only moved toward Oklahoma, even though the public is all over Michigan. So that just shapes up to me as a classic primetime 7:30 game. Public is all over Michigan, but the line's going to Oklahoma. I'm laying the points here with Oklahoma. Now, if you can get a 4.5, to me, that's obviously the best price. The money line is even, if you can get sub 200, I think there's like a minus 185, minus 190 out there. That's a little pricey, but still to win the game, I'm not really have a problem with that. But if we look at our spread recommendations, Oklahoma minus 6.2, Oklahoma recommended play minus 7.5. K, that's huge. Basically winning by 7-8 points. So I love these spots. Everyone's watching this game. Majority's going Michigan in the trendy dog. Public typically wants to bet favorites. When they load up on a dog, they become popular. I want to bet against that public sentiment. I'm laying it with Oklahoma. What do you think here, Cade? Do you have a play on this?
I've been watching this ever since Oklahoma was at 2.5 because I wanted to buy a cheap money line here so badly. Something that we've kind of hit on in the past episodes as well. To me, I pretty much give almost every single edge from QB play, skill position players, offensive line, not offensive line, defensive line. Offensive line, they look shaky. That's the only part that scares me here. So, I mean, every other aspect of the game and unit-wise, I like Oklahoma here, and I think they take charge. Bryce Underwood, he's a star true freshman. He's a hopeful in the terms of Michigan eyes. It's just a tough place to play for your first road game, and the place is going to be pretty rowdy. It's known for that. I did not know about a 4.5 being available. If I like a price on that, I honestly might have to jump on it. Or like you said, if I get a cheaper money line closer to the 180s range that I'm typically around, I would not be opposed to that as well. I mean, Oklahoma's got the offensive power to kind of do what they need to do in this case, but they both have stout defenses, so I don't know. I would lean Oklahoma if I had to, which I more than likely will by kickoff again as well, but yeah.
Well, I must have jinxed it here because I just looked and it was 4.5 earlier. It's back up to 5. Okay. So damn it. It's
minus 108's not a terrible number though, I guess.
But that's
even
all right.
I guess it's consensus, but if I can find something, maybe we'll find it. I'm sure.
Actually, you know what? We still got one here. Fanatics, Massachusetts. I'm in Mass. Fanatics is minus 4.5, minus 110. Looks like DraftKings as well. Everyone else is 5.5. So again, shop around. Don't just assume the one number you see is the market number. Obviously, shopping for the best price is a very easy, thing you can do as a bettor to increase your chances of winning. So let's go Sooners. Last one I got for you, Cade, and then we'll get out of here. This one really kind of caught my eye early, and then I was kind of monitoring it, and it just looks really, really sharp. But the Virginia Cavaliers, UVA is at NC State, and this one was interesting to me because it may not be the most heavily bet game this weekend, but I got a lot of indicators here on Virginia plus the points, and I'm just going to try to wait for a hook on the 3.5 because you open this game, NC State was basically -3. At some point, it was 3.5. It even got down to 2.5. You're kind of back up to 3. It looks like there might be a couple shops that are at 3.5 right now, but mostly 3s juiced up back toward NC State. But if you look at where the public is on this one, they're all over NC State. I mean, NC State is getting, 67% of bets at DraftKings, yet this line has kind of showed liability toward Virginia. I'm going to hold out for a hook on Virginia plus 3.5. But what I like is they're contrarian. Public's on NC State. Virginia is a buy low play. This line is pretty much line freeze-ish toward Virginia. And then if we look at Rithmm recommendations, we got 2 of them on Virginia. The Green Star recommended play, Virginia plus a 0.4, Cade. You're getting 3, and that's basically a pick 'em. Getting half a point basically. The other model here, 0.1. I mean, think of that too with home field advantage. You give them 2 or 3 points. Neutral site. Virginia should probably be favored in this one by maybe a little bit. But any thoughts on UVA? Because I think I got to wait and get. If I can get the hook 3.5, I'm going Virginia.
I love that we chose to go with this game here because I am on the same. I do have Virginia at -1.7 on one of mine. And I took a different angle because in my power ratings that I use, NC State last week, they dropped a half a point after playing ECU, which ECU is a good football team. But Virginia got a 1.5 point bump, even though they also played a garbage team. Coastal's terrible. But it brought the projection nearly to a pick 'em. And then over time, it ended up being a 1.7 at the time that I bought it. For what it's worth, based on solely of what they did last week, Virginia statistically on paper, according to my models, were 27 points better than NC State last week. I'm going to take that with a grain of salt, but I think the line is completely flipped. I do like Virginia outright in this case, and I do have Virginia +3 as well.
Excellent. Let's this is a recommended play too from Rithmm. Money line, win the damn game. I mean, a lot of people, I have a friend who will always basically go a half unit spread, half unit money line, and we'll both cash the spread, but I was too scared to go money line, and he cashes the money line. I'm like, why didn't I do that? So that's something you kind of got to deal with here.
Many on those last year.
But then also, what if they cover and don't win? And I'm like, ooh, I was smart. I didn't force the bold play. Again, you gotta no pain, no gain. If you don't go big, you got to go home here. So let me just look real quick what the spread is because I want the hook on the 3.5. We have one book, Cade, FanDuel, +3.5, -124. A little pricey, but so many games land on 3. So if you do want UVA here, which again, basically a pick 'em game, your Rithmm model here, or my model is saying half point, basically pick 'em. I might have to jump on that. +3.5.
That opened at 4.5, correct?
I think it did come down.
I wish I got that, but
and it got as low as 2.5 too. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if we could just crystal ball, Biff Tannen's almanac? We could know all these things ahead of time. I guess it wouldn't make for very interesting sweats though. But real quick, we got to make our buddy Parker happy. We got to remember every time, Kate, at the very end to rattle off our plays. So. Here's what I'm working with. Cowboys in the points tonight. I'm one of those insane people that is rooting for Cowboys to cover this number, +8.5. Let me just dial this up. Let's see. Cowboys +8.5. I'm going Jets +3. Browns +5.5. Commanders +6.5. I got James Madison in the points tomorrow, +14.5. I got Baylor +3. Michigan, Oklahoma. Either -4.5, you can still get it. Maybe a money line play sub 200, and that plus 3.5 with the hook on UVA. What do you got, my man? What will you be sweating over the next few days?
Tonight specifically, I ended up, I did find it was Hurts under 41.5 rushing yards. That's what I did have. But in terms of tracking, Javonte Williams under 35.5 rushing yards there. Saquon over attempts and 18.5, 8.5 on the Cowboys spread. And then over the course of the weekend, I have the Giants at 6.5. I did also have Texas Tech at minus 48.5. Really big spread, but if I wish I had time for a breakdown on that one. That one's
Well, they're just going to blow doors.
No,
I hope
Kent State doesn't score. Texas Tech does. A lot to a little. Done. Western Michigan under 24.5 team total, and I did end up getting Colts money line as we discussed last week for minus 120. Those are probably my other favorites.
Ooh, I like that one. Yeah, that Colts one. I'm glad you brought that up because again, public is all over Miami. It's pretty much stayed steady. I think. What are they still? Minus 1.5, or like a half point, something like that. Yeah. So that'll be a fade the trendy dog play. So yeah, go Colts, man. Well, hey, thank everyone for tuning in. We hit on a lot of games, Cade, and hopefully we dished out some winners here. I want to remind everyone to download Rithmm, give Rithmm a 5-star review in the App Store. Again, if you want to give Rithmm a shot, we gave you our recommendations, but you can go buck wild and make your own here, make your own models, do whatever you want to do, make sharp bets with your head, not your heart. But if you want to give it a shot, make sure you use START25 as your promo code, 25% off. And Cade, hope you enjoy Thursday Night Football. And we'll be doing some clips. Right. I got to make sure we got to do our social media.
Still learning that part.
Go viral, so look out online for that. Yeah. Any final thoughts, my man?
Just make sure you guys are obviously watching along. You guys see the green stars. You see the recommendations. You saw the week 1 performance last week. I don't know if you guys plan on sitting around for 18 weeks and not betting anything that we give out, but probably be a bad idea if you did. So hopefully you learned something this week and hopefully you follow along.
Well put, my man. So good luck, everyone. Hallelujah. NFL is back, and we will see you next week for episode 4 going into I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll have the first full week of NFL under our belt, but looking forward to grinding, Cade. So thank you, everyone. Good luck, and we'll see you soon. Take care.